guys? Forgive the army look again, but welcome back to episode 7 of Tank Chats. Today, we're looking at the M4A1 76W Sherman. With that, we're going to hop into it. So with the outbreak of World War II starting in 1939, which actually the anniversary of that starting was a couple days ago, the U.S. Army was looking to adopt a new medium tank for their arsenal. At the time, they were still using light scout cars, light tanks and things like that, and they were looking for a way to fit the 75mm gun, which is not on this tank, that they already had in the inventory, into the turret. This is a bad example of it, but because this is an up gun. But that's a little history on that. So the Army was looking for that, and development progressed, and development of the Sherman started in 1940 and progressed until 1942 when the first ones rolled off the assembly line. I believe it was in February. And these tanks started seeing action, I think, the same year in 1942. And they performed well at the early stages of the war. And what we're looking at here is actually original cast iron hull of one of the original M4A1 variants. So that's pretty cool about this vehicle. All right, so officially this tank was in service from 1942 to 1957 is when they were all phased out by then. A couple of the Easy 8 variants were used in Korea, but this variant mainly was used in World War II. How the development of this variant started was they took the original cast iron hulls of the M4A1 Shermans, which is the example we see here, and they took the T-21 and the T-22 and T-23 prototype turrets for the vehicles that were being developed, which developed into the Pershing from yesterday's video. They were put on top of these tanks and fitted so that they would have more fire capability, upgunning from a scant millimeter. Even though the propellant was a scant millimeter wider, the 76mm gun proved way more effective against German armor. So the variant that we're looking at here is a M4A1 76W, which is basically, layman's term, it's an M4A1 hull with the 76mm turret. The W was for basically like the upgrade abbreviation. So that's what we're looking at here. So there's a lot of history that you can look up on the Sherman, but they performed, because there were so many mass produced, there were over 49,000 produced by the end of World War II. That's how they proved so effective against German armor, because we had so many of them. But this, so like I said, this specific variant was upgunned to provide more firepower against German tanks such as Panthers, Tigers, and Panzers. I believe this gun at about 1,000 yards could penetrate the front of a Tiger with the 76mm round, because they had a high velocity gun and they had the muzzle brake and a higher round. So this is actually, all right, so like I was saying about the up gun, this is actually a M1A1 76mm gun, which is upgraded with obviously the distinct feature being the muzzle brake. The original 76mm M1 gun would just be cut off here, just be a regular 76mm. So that goes over most of the history. There are about 2,000 of these variants produced because the T-23 turret was approved and adopted for these tanks and for the Easy 8. So that's how those came to be. With that, we're gonna hop into the tour. Alright, so hopping into the tour of the vehicle, you guys, obviously we're looking at the cast iron hull, which is about 51mm of armor, equivalent to like 2 inches of steel. You have your ball mount for your 30 cal right here. You have your drive lights with your blackout markers. You have your brush guards for those. You have your front fenders and the fender markings. So this is a 1st Armored Division, 4th Armored Regiment, Alpha Company tank, most likely headquarters because it has only the abbreviation 4. You have rubberized tracks here that could have ability to adapt spacers or duckbills they were known as that. You have, like I said, the signature cast iron hull right here. You have your driver's position and the co-driver's position. So, and another thing to point out that I would like to point out about this vehicle, actually, if the cameraman will come over here, get a shot. This is actually a General Motors M4A1 if you want to get a shot of that. So pretty unique there. So, with that, you guys, we're gonna hop up on top of the vehicle and get into more. Another part of the front to talk about too, by the General Motors sign that we showed you earlier, is that actually they had the travel lock on the front instead of the rear, like the more modern battle tanks that were starting to come out towards the end of World War II. So I just wanted to point that out too. It's up here on the front. This is where the gun would be depressed down to elevate for travel, to depress for travel mode. So there you have it, you guys. All right, so hopping on top of the vehicle, you guys. Right now where I'm sitting, this is the co-driver's position or the radio operator, the bow gunner. Interesting thing we didn't point out at the front earlier, I think this is actually a flag mount right here. That'll mount like a general's flag or a headquarters flag or something like that. And also you got your arm bolt lifting plugs on the front. But right now where I'm in is on the co-driver's hatch. He's got his vision slit right here and his periscope. Then where the cameraman's sitting, if he wants to get a shot of that, he is on the driver's position, who would have the 2 speed stick levers to move the tank, and he's got his direct vision periscope and his secondary periscope. So those are the main crew positions here. Also, you got the M4A1 76mm gun. Nice. Right here is the secondary 30 cal, or this would be, and this is the gunner sight right here. We'll get more into detail in those crew positions when we hop on top of the turret. So with that, we'll hop into it. All right, so hopping on top of the turret, you guys, right here, I'm on top of the commander's hatch. He's got his direct vision slits right here. Normally just would have bulletproof glass there. He's actually missing his periscope, so you guys are getting another bonus clip of the interior of the vehicle. It's right here where his periscope would be. This is his hatch. Right here, you got the loader's hatch, where the loader would sit, his periscope. Right here is a mount for a 50 caliber machine gun, so that'll be your 3rd machine gun on this vehicle. Right here, I think this is a headquarters or flag mount or something like that, or for the spotlight, I believe, is what this would be used for. These bolts right here that the cameraman's near would actually be for putting canvas over the front mantlet of the turret. The front mantlet was about 76 millimeters thick, so it could deflect some of the lower caliber rounds. So right here, this is where the gunner would be in here, and his periscope would also be built into this area around here. And right here, the periscope for the loader is right there. So that's where the gunner would sit in front of the commander. The commander would be here. This would be your loader. Back here is your mount for your antenna. This is where the antenna would go for commo, anything like that. And back here, there's actually a secondary mount for a 30 caliber machine gun. So this vehicle looks like it would have 2 different machine guns for anti-air purposes. And with that, we'll hop off the turret and get to the side of the vehicle, you guys. So hopping into the side of the vehicle, you guys, we've got a nice, beautiful side profile shot of this vehicle right here. So we were just up on the turret. I'll go over this right now. These were actually just spots to put extra track links, as extra armor, or in case they break track or wanted to fix track. That's what that was for. You can see the signature shape of the cast iron hull, showing it's one of the early versions of the Sherman. You have your track links, which are now rubberized and have spacers for duckbills. Then you have your road wheel actually in the back and your dry sprocket in the front, because the main battle tank adaptation was not adopted yet. So you have the dry sprocket in the front and the support wheel in the back. Then you got your other suspension wheels. Main road wheels, you got your vertical volute suspension system, which is, it was actually a spring suspension system. So if the cameraman wants to come over here, I actually get a shot of the springs here for you. So this is what they would rotate on and be supported on right there. Then you got your other spacer wheels up here, your support wheels up here. These would just help feed the track along. So with that, you guys, there's not much else to cover. You got the serial number there, like on most tanks, but a couple more iron bolt lifting plugs on the turret as well. And with that, we'll hop into the rear of the vehicle. All right, so looking here, you guys, we're into the back of the vehicle. You have your rear fenders that have the same markings as the front. You have your US Star. You have your tail lights right here with your blackout markers. That would be this strip under here, just like you see on today. The signature tow pin will be back here. This is where the engine house will be accessed, and it was the radial Continental engine. Also, because this was a updated, I guess since it had the upgraded turret, they actually would put the, I'm not sure if all Shermans had it, but the Shermans had, this variant at least, has the talk box. So in here, you can actually see this would be the increase the output of the hand mic or the push to talk. So this is where the phone would be stored, and they would feed directly into the commander. So the infantry or support troops could communicate to the people in the turret. All right, so the Continental radio engine would be about 400 horsepower. It would hold like 100 to 500 gallons of fuel, around that range. And it had a range of 100 to 150 miles. So which was pretty good for a tank of the time. So it would have that, depending on road speeds and things like that, it could go up to that range. And with that, that pretty much covers the back, you guys. There's not much else I can really talk about. So with that, we'll get into the close out of the video, you guys. All right, so the cameraman's helping me again. Shout out for helping me out. But we're gonna get another shot here for you guys, because you can actually see, continue with the back, you can see the content of the engine back here. She's still in there. So we're all scrunched up in here, but you guys can actually take a really good look at it. We got another bonus clip that we can show you at the end as well, because there's part of the turret that's open as well, so you guys will get to see that. I just want to include this as part of the back of the tour of the vehicle. So with that, we're going to get into the closeout of this video, you guys. Okay guys, so I'm behind the camera again. Here's your bonus clip for you. You can actually see the gunner's seat right down there and the turret basket, as well as the commander's seat. You have the, if you can move the phone over, you have the wall for the 76mm gun. You can see the breech right there. Over there is where the loader would be. And if you can, I can try and get down and zoom in for you guys. But down there is your co-driver spot. And over here, you can't really see, but that's where the driver would be. So another bonus clip for you guys. Guys, with that, we want to say thank you again for tuning in to episode 7 of Tank Chats. Today we looked at the M4A1 76W, upgraded variant of the Sherman tank with a 76mm. And Colleen wants a shout out, so Colleen, thank you, I love you. She's really supportive of my videos. She likes watching these and me sending them to her. So I thank you for the support, babe. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you again.